Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Jai Hind, your daily boost. Tithi, Nakshatra, and important anniversaries, a spiritual and historical insight of 4th January 2025, Saturday, Bengali date, 19 পৌষ 1431. As per Beni Madhav Pondika, today's Tithi is Shukla Chaturthi and up to 0048 hours, and after that Shukla Panchami and up to 2259 hours, and after that Shukla Sosti. Today's Nakshatra, Dhanishta Nakshatra, and up to 0000 hours, and after that Satabhisha Nakshatra, and up to 2252 hours, and after that Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Today is 4th day of the year. There are then 361 days left in 2025. Today is first Saturday of 2025. Today is World Hypnotism Day. World Hypnotism Day is celebrated on January 4th. The purpose of World Hypnotism Day is to dispel myths and misconceptions about hypnosis and to educate the public about the benefits of hypnosis. Hypnosis, also known as hypnotherapy, is a state of deep relaxation and concentration that is guided by a trained hypnotist. Hypnosis can be used to help people with a variety of issues, including mental health. Hypnosis can help with issues like phobias, low self-esteem, and other mental health concerns. Past experiences. Hypnosis can help people recall repressed or forgotten memories. Surgery. Hypnosis has been used as an anesthetic or to manage pain during surgery. The history of hypnosis can be traced back to the late 18th century when German physician Franz Mesmer developed mesmerism. The term hypnotism was coined by James Braid in 1841. Today is World Braille Day. World Braille Day is an international day on 4th January and celebrates awareness of the importance of Braille as a means of communication in the full realization of the human rights for blind and visually impaired people. The date for the event was chosen by the United Nations General Assembly via a proclamation in November 2018 and marks the birthday of Louis Braille, creator of this writing system. The first World Braille Day was celebrated on January 4, 2019. Today is birth anniversary of Mr. Isaac Newton, 4th January 1643 to 31st March 1727. Sir Isaac Newton was an English polymath, active as a mathematician, physicist, astronomer, alchemist, theologian, and author who was described in his time as a natural philosopher. Newton was a key figure in the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment that followed. Newton's book, Philosophia Naturalis Principia Mathematica, Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, first published in 1687, achieved the first great unification in physics and established classical mechanics. Newton also made seminal contributions to optics and shares credit with German mathematician Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz for formulating infinitesimal calculus. Though he developed calculus years before Leibniz, he contributed to and refined the scientific method, and his work is considered the most influential in bringing forth modern science. In the Principia, Newton formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation that formed the dominant scientific viewpoint for centuries until it was superseded by the theory of relativity. He used his mathematical description of gravity to derive Kepler's laws of planetary motion, account for tides, the trajectories of comets, and the precession of the equinoxes and other phenomena, eradicating doubt about the solar system's heliocentricity. Newton solved the two-body problem and introduced the three-body problem. He demonstrated that the motion of objects on Earth and celestial bodies could be accounted for by the same principles. Newton's inference that the Earth is an oblate spheroid was later confirmed by the geodetic measurements of Maupertuis, La Condamine, and others, thereby convincing most European scientists of the superiority of Newtonian mechanics over earlier systems. Newton built the first reflecting telescope and developed a sophisticated theory of color based on the observation that a prism separates white light into the colors of the visible spectrum. His work on light was collected in his influential book Optics, published in 1704. He formulated an empirical law of cooling, which was the first transfer formulation and serves as the formal basis of convective heat transfer, made the first theoretical calculation of the speed of sound, and introduced the notions of a Newtonian fluid and a black body. Furthermore, he made early investigations into electricity with an idea for his book Optics, arguably the beginning of the field theory of the electric force. In addition to his creation of calculus as a mathematician, he generalized the binomial theorem to any real number, contributed to the study of power series, developed a method for approximating the roots of a function, classified most of the cubic plane curves, and also originated the Newton codes formulas for numerical integration. He further devised an early form of regression analysis. Newton was a fellow of Trinity College and the second Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at the University of Cambridge. He was appointed at the age of 26. He was a devout but unorthodox Christian who privately rejected the doctrine of the Trinity. He refused to take holy orders in the Church of England, unlike most members of the Cambridge faculty of the day. Beyond his work on the mathematical sciences, Newton dedicated much of his time to the study of alchemy and biblical chronology, but most of his work in those areas remained unpublished until long after his death. Politically and personally tied to the Whig Party, Newton served two brief terms as Member of Parliament for the University of Cambridge in 1689 to 1690 and 1701 to 1702. He was knighted by Queen Anne in 1705 and spent the last 3 decades of his life in London, serving as Warden 1696 to 1699 and Master 1699 to 1727 of the Royal Mint, in which he increased the accuracy and security of British coinage, as well as President of the Royal Society 1703 to 1727. Today is birth anniversary of Mr. Louis Braille, 4th January 1809 to 6th January 1852. Louis Braille was a French educator and the inventor of a reading and writing system named after him, Braille, intended for use by visually impaired people. His system is used worldwide and remains virtually unchanged to this day. Braille was blinded in one eye at the age of 3. This occurred as a result from an accident with his stitching awl in his father's harness making shop. Consequently, an infection set in and spread to both eyes, resulting in total blindness. At that time, there were not many resources in place for the blind, but he nevertheless excelled in his education and received a scholarship to France's Royal Institute for Blind Youth. While still a student there, he began developing a system of tactile code that could allow blind people to read and write quickly and efficiently. Inspired by a system invented by Charles Bavier, Braille's new method was more compact and lent itself to a range of uses, including music. He presented his work to his peers for the first time in 1824 when he was 15 years old. In adulthood, Braille served as a professor at the institute and had an avocation as a musician, but he largely spent the remainder of his life refining and extending his system. He went unused by most educators for many years after his death, but posterity has recognized Braille as a revolutionary invention, and it has been adapted for use in languages worldwide. Today is death anniversary of Mr. R. D. Burman, 27th June 1939 to 4th January 1994. Rahul Dev Burman was an Indian music director and actor who is considered to be one of the greatest and most successful music directors of the Hindi and Bengali film music industry. From the 1960s to the 1990s, Burman composed musical scores for 331 films, bringing a new level of music ensemble with his compositions. Burman did his major work with legendary singers Mohammad Rafi, Kishore Kumar, Lata Mangeshkar, and Asa Bhosle. He also worked extensively with lyricist Guljar, with whom he has some of the most memorable numbers in his career. Nicknamed Pancham, he was the only son of the composer Sachindev Burman and his Bengali lyricist wife Meera Dev Burman. He was mainly active in the Hindi film industry as a composer and also provided vocals for a few compositions. Served as an influence to the next generation of Indian music directors, and his songs continue to be popular in India and overseas. Many years after his death, his songs continue to be inspiration for new singers and composers. Today's death anniversary of Mr. Erwin Schrödinger, 12th August 1887 to 4th January 1961. Erwin Rudolph Joseph Alexander Schrödinger, sometimes written as Schrödinger or Schrödinger, was a Nobel Prize-winning Austrian and naturalized Irish physicist who developed fundamental results in quantum theory. In particular, he is recognized for postulating the Schrödinger equation, an equation that provides a way to calculate the wave function of a system and how it changes dynamically in time. Schrödinger coined the term quantum entanglement and was the earliest to discuss it, doing so in 1932. He also anticipated the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. In addition, he wrote many works on various aspects of physics, statistical mechanics, and thermodynamics, physics of dielectrics, color theory, electrodynamics, general relativity, and cosmology. And he made several attempts to construct a unified fields theory. In his book, What is Life? Schrödinger addressed the problems of genetics, looking at the phenomenon of life from the point of view of physics. He also paid great attention to the philosophical aspects of science, ancient and oriental philosophical concepts, ethics, and religion. He also wrote on philosophy and theoretical biology. In popular culture, he is best known for his Schrodinger's cat thought experiment. Spending most of his life as an academic with positions at various universities, Schrödinger, along with Paul Dirac, won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1933 for his work on quantum mechanics. The same year, he left Germany due to his opposition to Nazism. In his personal life, he lived with both his wife and his mistress, which may have led to problems causing him to leave his position at Oxford. Subsequently, until 1938, he had a position in Graz, Austria, until the Nazi takeover when he fled, finally finding a long-term arrangement in Dublin, Ireland, where he remained until retirement in 1955 and where he sexually abused several minors. Today's death anniversary of Mr. Albert Camus, 7th November 1913 to 4th January 1960. Albert Camus was a French philosopher, author, dramatist, journalist, world federalist, and political activist. He was the recipient of the 1957 Nobel Prize in Literature at the age of 44, second youngest recipient in history. His works include The Stranger, The Plague, The Myth of Sisyphus, The Fall, and The Rebel. Camus was born in French Algeria to pioneer parents. He spent his childhood in a poor neighborhood and later studied philosophy at the University of Algiers. He was in Paris when the Germans invaded France during World War II in 1940. Camus tried to flee but finally joined the French resistance, where he served as editor-in-chief at combat at an outlawed newspaper. After the war, he was a celebrity figure and gave many lectures around the world. He married twice but had many extramarital affairs. Camus was politically active. He was part of the left that opposed Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union because of their totalitarianism. Camus was a moralist and leaned towards anarcho-syndicalism. He was part of many organizations seeking European integration. During the Algerian War, 1954 to 1962, he kept a neutral stance, advocating a multicultural and pluralistic Algeria, a position that was rejected by most parties. Philosophically, Camus' view contributed to the rise of the philosophy known as absurdism. Some consider Camus' work to show him to be an existentialist, even though he himself had firmly rejected the term throughout his lifetime. Today is death anniversary of Mr. T.S. Eliot, 26 September 1888 to 4th January 1965. Thomas Stearns Eliot was a poet, essayist, and playwright. He was a leading figure in English language modernist poetry, where he reinvigorated the art through the use of language, writing style, and verse structure. He is also noted for his critical essays, which often re-evaluated long-held cultural beliefs. Born in Saint Louis, Missouri, to a prominent Boston Brahmin family, he moved to England in 1914 at the age of 25 and went on to settle, work, and marry there. He became a British subject in 1927 at the age of 39 and renounced his American citizenship. Eliot first attracted widespread attention for his poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock from 1914 to 1915, which at the time of its publication was considered outlandish. It was followed by The Lowest Land, 1922, The Hollow Man, 1925, Ash Wednesday, 1930, and Quartets, 1943. He wrote seven plays, notably Murder in the Cathedral, 1935, and The Cocktail Party, 1949. He was awarded the 1948 Nobel Prize in Literature for his outstanding pioneer contributions to present-day poetry. Today is death anniversary of Mr. Henry Bergson, 18 October 1859 to 4th January 1941. Henry Louis Bergson was a French philosopher who was influential in the traditions of analytic philosophy and continental philosophy, especially during the first half of the 20th century until the Second World War, but also after 1966 when Gilles Deleuze published Le Bergsonism. Bergson is known for his arguments that processes of immediate experiences and intuition are more significant than abstract rationalism and science for understanding reality. Bergson was awarded the 1927 Nobel Prize in Literature in recognition of his rich and vitalizing ideas and the brilliant skill with which they have been presented. In 1930, France awarded him its highest honor, the Grand Croix de la Légion d'honneur. Bergson's great popularity created a controversy in France, where his views were seen as opposing the secular and scientific attitude adopted by the Republic's officials. Today is death anniversary of Mr. Martinus J. G. Veltman, 27th June 1931 to 4th January 2021. Martinus Justinus Gottfriedus Tini Veltman was a Dutch theoretical physicist. He shared the 1999 Nobel Prize in Physics with his former PhD student Gerardus T. Hooft for their work on particle theory. Thank you very much for your patience.